Hey guys, alright.
Welcome everyone. We begin by seeing a woman named Drassa, who wakes up in a small cave. Hearing the sound of an airplane, she becomes alert and quickly grabs her rifle. She is an excellent sniper who is waiting for her target, the oligarch, to land. The shot is imperceptible, however, it is deadly. After retrieving the capsule, she becomes contemplative. The scene shifts, and we see Levi waking up a bit startled. He is a sniper who has been away from his military duties for 4 years. He decides to take a walk to clear his head and ends up at the port, where he stays until sunrise. Levi makes some notes in his journal and reflects on his life. Suddenly, he receives a message on his phone from an unknown person, asking him to go to Pendleton Base. Hours later, we see him arriving at the location, which is a Federal Reserve. A soldier leads him to a meeting room, where he meets a high-ranking official, Ms. Weaver. The woman begins the conversation by showing impressive data, where the shooter had excellent success in his missions but is currently inactive. She claims to have something special for him, which would be a reason for him to return to active duty. Meanwhile, in Pravaca, Lithuania, we see Drassa meeting her father Eric at the grave of her deceased mother. The young woman feels bad for having completed the mission, as the man had a family, and adds that she hasn't been sleeping well, attributing it to her work. However, her father says the target grew wealthy selling bombs and landmines, which caused thousands of deaths and irreparable losses to many families. The conversation shifts when Eric says he is dying from the inside due to cancer and that he has marked a day to put an end to it and finally meet his beloved on the other side of life. His daughter is upset by his words, but her father insists that his life is his own and that he has already made his decision. Sad but accepting her father's choice, Drassa shares a drink with him. A few days later, Levi wakes up on an aircraft, and immediately a soldier asks him to stow his belongings, as they are about to reach the jump zone and cannot take anything with them. The soldier hands him a small pouch and says that once he reaches the ground, Levi must walk 38 kilometers north. Curious about his location, Levi asks where they are, but the soldier doesn't respond. A few minutes later, he jumps and lands in a vast valley surrounded by high mountains. Levi walks until the next day, when at the scheduled time he arrives at a valley where there is a large chasm covered by dense fog. As he looks around, a soldier named JD finds him. This man has been in the area for a year, and Levi is the first person he has spoken to. The soldier says that Levi will live in the West Lookout for a year and invites him to have a drink while he explains everything. Before they enter the tower, Levi notices that on the other side of the chasm is the East Tower, where JD mentions that contacting the other side is prohibited, yet while observing, he states that he saw a soldier exchange happening in the morning. Upon entering the tower, Levi sees a photograph of the first guard, Captain Bradford. JD explains that the outer bunker contains the arsenal, where soldier Levi will find everything he needs, including weapons, ammunition, mines, and tools. Every 30 days, there is communication via radio, and the soldier must send updates. Levi asks what a camouflage transmitter is, and JD tells him it is a satellite transmitter scattered throughout the area that serves to hide the chasm from spying satellites. JD adds that there is no external communication, but there is an emergency button on the shortwave radio. However, if the chasm is invaded, the defense system will trigger the Stray Dog protocol, and when Levi hears the sirens, JD says the order is to run without stopping. JD mentions that the entire area is a base built in the mid-World War II period, where an agreement was made between the western and eastern sides to keep the site secret and protected. Questioning the mission, Levi asks what the purpose of protecting the location is. Is it to prevent someone from venturing or to stop the invasion from their side? However, JD's response is that they must prevent what is in the chasm from coming out. Levi becomes curious and doesn't understand what the mission really entails, but JD adds that this is what his predecessor told him a year ago. Therefore, Levi must keep an eye on the central walls, which are easier to climb, and the automatic weapons located to the north and south protect the rest. Levi still doubts what could be hidden below the dense fog of the chasm, but JD throws a grenade and, after the explosion, a strange sound is heard, catching Levi's attention. JD refers to them as Hollow Men, but no one knows what they really are. He also states that in the late 40s, 3 battalions of soldiers were sent, about 2,400 men, into the chasm, however, none came back. Levi does not believe that the place is truly a site of terror and that there are monstrous creatures, but JD insists that, not knowing what truly lies beneath, he claims it is the gateway to hell and that they are the Watchers. The next morning, Levi bids farewell to his companion and enters the facility. Hours later, the relieved soldier JD is rescued by a helicopter. However, upon confirming his identity, the soldier thanks him for his service and kills him. He then drops his body and informs Leader Weaver that the exchange has been completed. The scene shifts to Levi exiting the tower to update the systems and then check if the weapons are functioning. After 30 days, Levi contacts the outside world via radio and relays the information, reporting that he has had no contact with the enemy and that the entire system is functioning perfectly. Levi has a question, but the radio communication is cut off. With not much to do, he picks books from the shelf and ends up discovering writing on the wall. It consists of phrases that each watchman who passed through left written. One phrase catches his attention, stating that only those who dare to go boldly into the unknown can know how far they can go. This phrase was written by the first lookout of the tower, Captain Bradford, in the year 1947. One morning, hearing a noise, Levi decides to observe the other tower and ends up seeing his protector. We find out that it is Drasa, who has been chosen for such a role. Days go by, and on a calm night, both soldiers sit high in the tower. Drasa watches Levi, and bored with the days, decides to risk making contact. She shoots into the air, catches the soldier's attention, and starts a formal conversation in writing. However, she is surprised when Levi asserts that contact is prohibited. Drasa says she doesn't care and mentions that today is her birthday, and she will do as she pleases. Accepting the contact, he toasts to Drasa's birthday. This excites the young soldier, and during the night, she plays loud music and dances as if at a party. She challenges Levi to show off his rifle skills, but he doesn't want to play along. Seeing his resistance, she then hits Levi's cup with a beautiful shot. Not wanting to be outdone, Levi responds to the challenge and hits the champagne bottle. Drasa prepares another challenge, but notices something moving on the chasm walls. She warns Levi to look at his side, and they both notice something strange. When the lights pass through the area, Levi sees something bizarre. Humanoid creatures, as if they were humans intertwined with plant parts. Without thinking twice, he shoots at the creatures, activating the landmines. Immediately, Drasa grabs the machine gun and helps Levi eliminate the remaining enemies that continue to climb the rocky walls. After clearing the west side, Drasa finds her side under attack. One of the creatures manages to climb to the top of the tower, and we can better observe its bizarre form. Drasa, upon seeing the enemy, shoots and defeats it. However, more of them are approaching. Levi helps by shooting the abominations, taking down as many as he can. After one of the mines explodes and injures Drasa, Levi grabs the machine gun and shoots relentlessly at the creatures, both on the east wall and on his side. Aware of the danger, Drasa rises and resumes shooting alongside Levi, relying on the movement-activated weapons. The night is intense, but they manage to protect the towers that night. The next day, Levi makes repairs and sets up new bombs, while a mini-drone emerges from the fog and takes off quickly, leaving the soldiers puzzled. Days pass, and fortunately, the soldiers build a friendship, where Levi shows that he is always worried about his new companion. They have fun playing games, even at a distance, enjoying their free time, as there have been no further attacks since the last one. Months later, on another night, Levi wakes up startled again. Meanwhile, Drasa shows that she is also watching him, proving that they are forming a bond with each other. One night, Levi watches Drasa and sees her crying. We realize that she is remembering what her father said about leaving this life. She writes saying that she had a bad day and wished Levi were with her. Levi cannot sleep, thinking about what Drasa told him earlier, so recalling the phrase from the first guard, he builds a launcher so that he can reach the other side. This impresses Drasa, who, realizing what the plan is, descends from the tower and helps secure the throne rope. A few minutes later, Levi writes an invitation for them to have dinner together that night, making the young woman very happy. With the invitation accepted, Levi prepares and launches himself on the improvised zipline. He reaches halfway across and has to crawl along the rope, seeing that below him is the unknown and dangerous chasm. Fortunately, the soldier crosses safely and soon meets Drassa, who claims to have prepared a delicious dinner for them. Levi gives her flowers and receives a comment that he smells bad, so he is forced to wash up. They then share a beautiful moment for the first time after the 6 months they have known each other while performing their military roles. The conversation is pleasant, and they both share stories about their lives and how they got to where they are in their military careers. After dinner, they gather inside the tower, and Drassa plays music for them to dance to. Then, they both let their emotions and feelings blossom, sharing a romantic night together. The next morning, Levi bids farewell to Drassa and takes the zipline back to his tower. Unfortunately, just as some mines explode the enemies at that moment, debris causes the rope to snap, making him fall into the chasm before reaching the top. Seeing Levi fall freely into the chasm, without hesitating, Drassa prepares and jumps after him. She ends up landing in a stream with a strong current, but fortunately manages to get out. Meanwhile, Levi is hanging from a tree in a strangely eerie location. A creature resembling a centipede approaches him and attacks, but the soldier fights back and shoots. Unfortunately, he falls onto the tree's roots, which turn out to be a type of carnivorous creature that begins to ensnare him as if to consume him. Fortunately, Drassa arrives and pulls him from the deadly trap. They both discover that the area resembles a vast forest surrounded by dense fog. They hear horse sounds, and suddenly, horsemen who have morphed into aberrations pass by them and attack. While one grabs Levi, another tries to take down Drassa, but she evades and kills him. Levi manages to free himself from the attack and also destroys the enemy. They regroup, but Drassa realizes that she lost the Ascensor in the river, something necessary for them to escape. Levi, checking the dead enemy, discovers that he was from the 1st Airborne Division of the United States, and Drassa mentions she saw remains of British and Soviet troops. They realize that these creatures were once men who lived and served in the 1940s when soldiers still used horses as mounts. The two continue walking on the hostile ground, where they see human remains that have been devoured by the roots of the dead trees and have now become a part of them. The scene is strange and simultaneously terrifying. After walking for a while, they come across a small village, which shows cracks in the ground, likely caused by a possible seismic shock. Hearing sounds of monsters approaching, they both become alert and fearing it may be something horrific, enter an old church, where they can still see the skeletons of the humans who remained there. Levi discovers that these people ended their own lives, prompting both to question what could be worse than death. Suddenly, spider-like creatures attack them, forcing them to defend themselves. However, that is not the worst, as even more humanoid creatures enter the area and try to kill both of them. Fortunately, they are excellent marksmen and good fighters and subsequently manage to escape from the area. The two realize they will soon be surrounded and rush toward the chasm's wall. They find an entrance to a bunker and, with no choice, enter. The place appears to have undergone an attack, with a type of root filling almost the entire environment. Levi and Drassa examine the area and find a laboratory that still contains the remains of the men who died there. Levi finds a body holding a container with the phrase written, "God forgive us." Drassa activates the lab's backup power and restores the recording tapes. On them, a scientist states that they are in the year 1946 and that while other leaders were creating atomic bombs, her team was developing biochemical missiles of equal destructiveness. She mentions that they were hit by an earthquake with a magnitude of 8.1, which severely compromised the facility. Now they no longer have the role of creators but must contain the creation. The scientist has spasms in her body and states that they will do everything in their power to ensure that the released toxin does not leave the chasm. She adds that exposure to the biochemical component fused into the DNA of all living beings within the chasm. Consequently, human DNA merged with that of plants, insects, and animals, causing mutation. Drassa finds a cabinet where some bottles of red liquid still exist, and one of them has the label stating last sample. The doctor explains that some people take longer to have their bodies infected, but in the case of contamination, there is a 5-day period for the infected to have their bodies transformed, during which they will notice signs of mutation. The scientist confidently states that the location chosen for such experiments, due to its unknown and isolated nature, can ensure the survival of humanity. After watching the video, they look into the next room and discover equipment that is not dated from the 40s. A modern computer from the 2000s is there, showing that the location has been visited and researched by someone else. Drassa questions how it would have been simpler to send a nuclear attack to destroy everything there, putting an end to it.
putting
Upon
an end to
turning
it.
on the computer,
Upon turning
Levi
on the
sees the
computer,
name of the
Levi
company
sees the name
responsible,
of the company
Darklake, a
responsible,
non-military
Darklake,
firm
a
specializing in
non-military
genetic
firm
research.
specializing in genetic
With this
research.
discovery, they
With this
realized that the
discovery,
location
they
only
realized that the
exists because
location
it is
only
still under
exists
study.
because it is still
The
under
site was a
study.
control
The
base for
site was a
research
control
drones,
base
which
for
collected
research
genetic
drones,
samples
which
from the
collected
hybrid
genetic
creatures
samples
for
from the
research and
hybrid
military
creatures for
enhancement
research and
purposes,
military
thereby
enhancement
creating
purposes,
super
thereby
soldiers.
creating
They
super
both come
soldiers.
to understand
They
that
both
they are
come to
there as
understand
protectors
that
of
they
a
are
place
there as
that was the
protectors
site
of
of
a place
inhumane
that was the site
experiments.
of inhumane
Levi
experiments.
finds a folder
Levi
regarding the
finds a
Stray Dog
folder
Project.
regarding the Stray
In
Dog
it,
Project.
there is the creation
In
of an
it, there
atomic
is the
bomb that was
creation of an
planted in a
atomic bomb that
strategic
was
point of the
planted in a
chasm for the
strategic point of the
self-destruction
chasm for the
protocol.
self-destruction
The information
protocol.
describes the
The
safety
information
point at the
describes
time
the
of
safety
detonation
point
as
at the
being
time
just
of
over 4
detonation as being
kilometers
just
away.
over 4 kilometers away.
After the discovery, they
After
decide
the
to venture
discovery,
outside
they
the
decide
bunker,
to venture
but before
outside the
leaving,
bunker.
they hear
But before
creatures
leaving,
outside and
they hear
realize that
creatures
they think
outside
and
and
reason like
realize that
men.
they think and reason like men.
Bravely, they step out and try to
Bravely,
find a
they
quiet
step out
route,
and try to
but
find a
Drassa is
quiet
caught in a
route,
trap
but
and
Drassa
dragged
is
by a
caught in a
knife.
trap and dragged by a
She
knife.
even tries to free herself,
She even
but ends
tries
up
to free
banging her
herself,
head
but
and
ends
losing
up banging her
consciousness.
head and losing
Levi,
consciousness.
unable to see clearly,
Levi, unable to
continues
see
searching
clearly,
for his partner and
continues
ends up
searching for his
finding another
partner and ends up
facility that
finding
contains a
another
ballistic
facility that
missile that
contains
seems
a
to be out
ballistic
of
missile
function.
that seems to be out of
In a
function.
hideout, we see
In a
Drassa
hideout,
hanging and
we
tied
see
up by a
Drassa
rope.
hanging and tied up by
Soon
a
her
rope.
captor arrives.
Soon her
a
captor
humanoid
arrives.
creature with
A
its entire
humanoid
body
creature with its
transformed into
entire
roots.
body transformed
Drassa
into roots.
awakens and partially
Drassa
frees
awakens
herself,
and partially
attacking
frees
him with
herself,
whatever she can
attacking
reach.
him with whatever she
The
can
humanoid
reach.
is strong,
The
but
humanoid
Drassa
is
manages
strong,
to attack
but
him
Drassa
effectively,
manages to
though he
attack
does
him
not want to
effectively,
lose his
though he
prey.
does not want to
The
lose
young
his
woman
prey.
continues to
The
fight
young woman
bravely until
continues to
Levi
fight
arrives and
bravely
ends the
until Levi
creature.
arrives and ends
Levi
the creature.
approaches the humanoid
Levi
and discovers
approaches the
that,
humanoid
in
and
fact,
discovers
the
that,
defeated
in
enemy
fact,
was the
the
first
defeated
guardian.
enemy was the first guardian.
Levi tells Drassa that they are in a
tells
chemical
Drassa that
weapons
they are in a
laboratory,
chemical
where the
weapons
earthquake
laboratory,
damaged one
where
of the
the
missiles,
earthquake
and the
damaged one of the
contaminating
missiles,
agent
and
is
the
now present
contaminating
throughout
agent
the
is now
fog.
present throughout the
They
fog.
observe a large mass of
They
organic
observe a large
filaments,
mass of
like roots
organic
connected to
filaments,
each other,
like roots
which
connected
contain
to each
humans
other,
who have been
which contain
completely
humans who
devoured
have
and have
been
become a
completely
permanent
devoured
part
and
of
have
the
become a
vast organic
permanent part of the
complex.
vast organic
The
complex.
two weave through the organic branches, still unable to believe what has
still
happened.
unable to believe what has happened.
Suddenly, Drassa bumps into a sticky filament, which becomes hostile to their presence and soon begins to chase them. Drassa ends up throwing a grenade amidst that creature, and after the explosion, they hear screams as if men were on fire. After leaving the area, they find military vehicles in a shed. They fix one and depart to the location where Levi fell, as they plan to use the zipline as an anchor to climb back to the East Tower. While one ties the rope to the powerful winch of the Jeep, the other buys time by shooting the creatures. After they succeed, they begin climbing up the massive wall of the chasm. When they are near halfway up, the enemies climb alongside them, and it doesn't take long before both are attacked. Out of ammunition, Levi uses the sword he took from the deceased Bradford to fend off the enemies. Drassa helps him with an axe and is also quick to take down her opponent. Levi is nearly thrown off the vehicle, and noticing that the hollow men are climbing the ropes, he punctures the fuel tank and sets them on fire. This causes an explosion and damages the vehicle. With no other choice, Drassa cuts the rope, still a few meters from the top. Moments later, they are both in the tower taking care of their wounds. They discuss the possibility of being infected and agree that they will do what they must ensure that such evil does not spread. After talking about the possibility of fleeing the area, Levi states that each hollow man is a contaminator for the outside world, and they need to destroy the chasm. Levi builds a new zipline to return to his post and warns Drassa that the effects of mutation occur in 5 days. If nothing happens, they will be safe. Otherwise, they will be sentenced to death. Drassa thinks positively and hopes they will meet again next week. In their farewell, Levi declares that he loves her and that they will reunite soon. The next day, Levi contacts Mission Control and ends up speaking with Weaver, who tells him that the main objective of the mission is to make the American army unbeatable. She also asks him about the drone control system having been activated, questioning whether he descended into the chasm. Levi denies any knowledge of the communication end. With this negative assertion, Weaver orders the other guardian of the East Tower to be taken down. Without questioning the order, Levi says he will do so. After the conversation ends, Weaver carefully examines the recorded image that incriminates Levi, showing him with Drassa and communicating with her. She then orders the commander to prepare a team, warning that Levi was a mistake for the mission and that she will eliminate him herself. The next morning, while both soldiers reset the traps, they pause to rest, each on their side of the chasm. Drassa writes a message to Levi, saying that she loves him too, making him very happy.
making him very
Suddenly,
happy.
they hear the sound of a helicopter and confirm it visually with their binoculars. Immediately, Levi shouts for Drassa to run, and both hurry and race into the forest. After confirming that neither Levi nor Drassa are at their posts, Weaver orders the activation of the quadcopter drone protocol. Immediately, several large military drones rise from the chasm and spread out. It doesn't take long before one intercepts Levi and begins to fire. The heavy caliber bullets knock a piece of trunk onto Levi, causing him to fall, but he quickly recovers and shoots back, bringing down the drone. Drassa is also being pursued while Levi looks at a distance marker, revealing that he is 3,800 meters from the tower. With her excellent aim, Drassa manages to hit two drones, causing them to collide with each other and crash. They continue to take down the drones as they move further away from the starting point. At a certain point, they stop and position themselves aiming at the towers. Drassa has Weaver in her weapon sight, while Weaver sees the phrases written on the wall by all the watchmen who have passed through over the years. But one catches her more attention. It is the one that Levi wrote, dated 2025, which says, "There are three things that do not remain hidden: the sun, the moon, and the truth." Meanwhile, Levi aims at the transmitter antenna and shoots, exploding it, and Drassa does the same. The explosion sends a spark to the other transmitters along the chasm through a cable installed by Levi on the east side and, likewise, another cable on the west side. Weaver realizes that it was a trap made by Levi and Drassa before they fled, in which they disabled the camouflage antennas, thereby exposing the chasm to satellites. Thus, the Stray Dog Protocol is automatically activated, as it was programmed to do so. Knowing they have less than 2 minutes before the atomic bomb at the bottom of the chasm explodes, Weaver quickly hurries to escape. Drassa and Levi also continue to run as fast as possible from the impact zone. Weaver orders her men to forget the height and focus on the distance, but it is already too late, and the bomb explodes. The explosion is highly violent, destroying everything nearby and reaching the helicopter where Weaver and her soldiers were, thus killing them. Levi, being injured and unable to run much, is also hit by the shockwave and falls into a waterfall. On the other side, at a good distance, Drassa can only watch the enormous destruction. Drassa hides in a cave and starts marking the days on a stone, hoping that she has not been contaminated, which she will only know on the 5th day. She looks at an envelope that Levi gave her, saying that if he doesn't save himself, she will open it at sunset. The 5th day arrives, and Drassa leaves. We then see her in Ys, France, now, on a hillside near a monument. She seems to be waiting for something, and when the sun is setting, she opens Levi's envelope. She reads a romantic phrase in the content, something like a song. This leaves Drassa emotional, and after a few moments, she walks away. Months go by, and now we see Drassa working as a waitress in a seaside restaurant. When suddenly, she sees Levi sitting at one of the tables, making her very happy. The two then hug and share a passionate kiss.